students with a class 7. We have started the chapter 3 of history, that is the Delhi Sultans. And yesterday we were discussing about the slave dynasty. We were discussing about Razia Sultan. uh, Razia Sultan was more able than her brothers, and it has been mentioned in the history about her. And then we have discussed about Rudrama Devi also, that she was a woman, but on the coins she just pretends to be a man, but actually she was a girl. Or why did she do it? Because at the time it was male dominated society, and the men, they didn't want to be ruled by a woman, so that's why she hid that she was a lady, because she was a female, means she was female. So Rudrama Devi, she just pretended, changed her name, and just pretended that as she was a man. And let's start with the garrison towns and hinterlands. So let's start. Yes, in the early 13th century, the control of the Delhi Sultans rarely went beyond heavily fortified towns occupied by garrisons. So, at the time, the towns were fortified so that the area can be uh, safe from any outer attack. So, the very heavy fortified uh, towns were found at the time. So the Sultan seldom controlled the hinterland of the cities and were therefore dependent upon trade, tribute, or plunder for supplies. So hinterlands, yesterday also we have discussed, these were the areas just adjacent to the cities or the port that supply it with goods and services. So this we have discussed yesterday. So the Sultan, they seldom these control these hinterlands of the cities, and these cities, they were dependent upon trade, uh, just tribute and plunder of supplies, means the supplies were also made from these areas. So controlling garrison town in distant Bengal and Sindh from Delhi was extremely difficult. Rebellion, war, even bad weather could snap fragile communication routes. So controlling garrison towns from Delhi to far off places, it was very difficult, and that's why the rebellion or war took place time to time, because the communication was not so strong due to the because some of the time, or due to the bad weather also, the communication was not good at the time. So that's why rebellions took place. The state was also challenged by Mongol invasions from Afghanistan and by governors who rebelled at any sign of the Sultan's weakness. The Sultanate barely survived these challenges. Its expansion occurred during the rebellion of Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and Muhammad Tughlaq. Yes, it is true. If we just study history, then we come to know that at the time there was a challenge of the Mongol invasion also. That in Mongol invaders, they started invading India, and at that time or at the same time, there were rebellions from the governors. If the governors found any weak point of the king or the ruler, they just tried to take advantage of it and declared themselves as independent to the Sultan. So the Sultanate, it could not bear these challenges, and its expansion, it occurred, or the Delhi Sultanate, it expanded during the reigns of Ghiyasuddin Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and Muhammad Tughlaq. So these people, these worked out for the expansion of the uh, Delhi Sultanate. So the first set of campaigns along the internal frontiers of the Sultanate aimed at consolidating the hinterlands of the garrison towns. So the first step was to control the hinterlands of the garrison towns. During these campaigns, forests were cleared in the Ganga Yamuna Doab and hunter gatherers and pastoralists expelled from their habitats. So in order to control the hinterlands of the garrison towns, dense forests were cut, and the original inhabitants of those areas were displaced from their native areas. These lands were given to peasants and agriculture was encouraged. So all this land that was the forest land that was cleared, this land was these lands were given to the peasants or the farmers so that they could do agriculture there. So in this way the agriculture was encouraged. Now fortresses and towns were established to protect trade routes and to promote regional trade. So, new areas were fortified and new towns were established in order to protect trade routes and to promote the security of the area. The second expansion occurred along the external. So, this we are talking about the internal frontiers or internal borders of the towns. So now external borders or frontiers we're talking about. The second expansion occurred along the external frontier of the Sultanate. Military expeditions into southern India started during the reign of Alauddin Khalji. So Alauddin Khalji started their military campaigns towards South India. So and culminated with Muhammad Tughlaq. In their campaigns, Sultanate armies captured elephants, horses, and slaves and carried away precious metals. So, in these campaigns towards the south, Alauddin Khalji and Muhammad Tughlaq, those people they captured elephants, horses, slaves, and precious metals also. So, these were uh, to some extent beneficial for the Sultan. By the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's reign, 150 years after somewhat humble beginnings, the armies of the Delhi Sultanate had marched across a large part of subcontinent. So, as towards the end of Muhammad Tughlaq's rule, so the armies of Delhi Sultanate started marching towards or they just marched across a large part of the subcontinent, means they have conquered a large part of the country. They had defeated rival armies and seized the cities, means they occupied more and more areas. The Sultanate collected taxes from the peasants and dispensed justice to its realm. So the Delhi Sultanate it expanded to far off places, and then the Sultanate collected taxes from the farmers, and they also provided justice to all its subjects. But how complete and effective was its control over such a vast territory? So when the area is large, so there are some kind of doubts that if that uh, administration or that control was effective or not. So this is also a matter of consultation or discussion. So see this masjid. A mosque is called a masjid in Arabic. Please underline this. A mosque is Hanji. So, a mosque is called a masjid in Arabic, literally a place where a Muslim prostrates in reference to Allah. So, mosque it is a place where the Muslims they pray to their Allah or God. So, masjid it's an Arabic word. Hanji. In a congregational mosque, Masjid Jami or Jama Masjid, Muslims read their prayers, namaz together. Members of the congregation choose the most respected, learned male as their leader, Imam, and that leader is called Imam. For the rituals of prayer, he also delivers the sermon, means khutbah, sermon, means message during the Friday break. So this is related to some of the facts related to a masjid. During prayer, Muslims stand facing Mecca. In India, this is to the west. This is called a Qibla. So that is, I think, the position in which they stand facing west. So the next, the Delhi Sultans built several mosques in cities all over the subcontinent. These demonstrate their claims to be protectors of Islam and Muslims. Mosques also help to create the sense of a community of believers. So because they were Muslims, so they tried to expand their religion. So they were built up a different mosque at several places, and they also these mosques demonstrated their claim that they were the protectors of Islam and Muslims, and they also these monuments also just uh, give the message that they belong to the same community. Means they wanted to convince the people that they are uh, their helpers. So rest of the chapter we will discuss tomorrow. So this is all for today. Have a great day.